All right, blue-white Thassa. So yesterday we had played a blue-white Lumbering Battlement Party Bus deck. And then I also had sitting in the queue a build around for just blue-white Thassa. So this build is eschewing the Lumbering Battlements for some more individually powerful 5-drops. I've got both Cavalier of Dawn here as well as Cavalier of Gales as ways to generate some card advantage in the 5 slot. Gales is also very good at enabling Thassa to be a real creature. Cavalier of Dawn is also pretty sweet with Thassa, because something to note here is that the creation of the 3/3 is not contingent upon the thing you target being destroyed. So you can Cavalier of Dawn, target your Thassa, and just get a 3/3. So Thassa blinks Cavalier and makes a 3/3 when you target your Thassa with it. So Cavalier, like Master Splicer here, can just generate extra 3/3s for us every turn. And these are golems that get created, so Master Splicer actually powers up Cavalier tokens, which is fun. Cavalier of Dawn also works well with Elspeth Conquers Death, because when Cavalier of Dawn dies, it gets an enchantment back, so it can pick Conquer's Death back up from the bin, and then Conquer's Death eventually gets Cavalier of Dawn back. So a lot of cute little synergies in here. Some otherwise reasonable mid-range Magic the Gathering cards. Let's hop on into a constructed event with this one and see how it goes. Yeah, this deck is basically similar to what we did yesterday while taking out the cute cards. Maybe this should have been a mulligan. The Mobilized Districts might be a little bit greedy in the mana with the Cavaliers. What determines constructed events versus the ladder? So, well, I'm not going to stress out about my ladder rank, and I'm not going to, like, overly try hard at it. There is an MCQ that you qualify for this month if you do well on the ladder. So, decks that I think are probably a little bit less competitive, I'm going to be playing in constructed events, so I don't, like, intentionally tank my constructed rank. Because, like, if I play mostly decks that I think are good on the ladder, I think we have a good shot of just, like, finishing the top 1200 just by doing what I do normally. So, like, I think from today's lineup, I'm probably going to play the Bant Calyx deck on the ladder. I think that one's pretty reasonable. And, like, honestly, as far as deck quality goes, at one point I was playing constructed events so that the deck quality seemed like it was lower, but this set release has been a pretty mixed bag. Like, yesterday we played a constructed event and hit mono red multiple times, and then, like, we played on the ladder, and on the ladder we played against blue-red Drowned Secrets. So the quality varies pretty wildly regardless of which type of thing you're playing. Well, at least they don't have a 1/1 for Quester Sid. Glass half full. This makes a 4/4 at least. Then next turn we can go tap land Thassa. Maybe I should have played the blue source here. Because if they kill the Splicer and I draw a blue source, I could play Cavalier of Gales. Yeah, I probably should have shocked it and played the blue source. Yeah, anything political related is welcome in the Dark Place. Wouldn't be surprised to see Splicer get Murderous Rider in response here. Really? That just worked? That bodes well for our hero. That really surprised me. Well, might be en route to stabilization, chat. We get to blink this successfully. And I assume they don't have a removal spell, because if they had one, they would have played it last turn. Okay, if we can find a blue source next turn, like, we get to play Cavalier, and Cavalier would activate Thassa, because we have Omen of the Sea in play as well. That's an interesting thought, Ace Tiger. Master Splicer and Lovestruck Beast together. I don't hate that idea. You think I'd rather play second Splicer? Huh. Maybe I would. Maybe I would. You think? I think you're right. Yeah, we end up with a bunch of 5/5s here. And this is better because if they kill Cavalier, I'm a little sad. This is a setup that felt really good in the party bus deck we played yesterday. A lot of the games we won were on the back of Splicer plus Thassa going to town. Hey, Kevin. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. The bus deck yesterday was fine. I'm not a huge fan of Teferi against Questing Beast. Banishing Light's probably better. I probably should have shoved a couple of Aether Gusts in the sideboard. Might have been better than Spyglass. I feel like they're probably aggressive enough that Agent of Treachery is not good. Yeah, part of the reason why I waited to build this deck, I didn't, in addition to time being a little bit crunched this week, I wanted to wait till after we played the party bus build so we could do some comparisons. This is fine. We'll bottom a... Huh, do I actually bottom Charming Prince here? I think I bottom Charming Prince, huh? Because, like, these births are basically lands. I don't know. I haven't played a ton of Jund. I think one of the things to consider is that if you ask me, like, obviously all the players playing in Worlds are, like, world-class players, but if you ask me to pick out the 3 or 4 best players playing at Worlds, I almost certainly would include Canister on that short list. So, like, Canister picking a deck I don't think is necessarily inherently representative of it being good or bad. Yeah, the Spirit's in the sideboard for the Swarm decks, Sunshine. Morning, CRW. Definitely just leading on Birth here. Get this going. get the planes out of our deck to start. These take a little bit to pop off. What are you doing, tiny man? You just hit your head on the door handle?
No, I hit it right out there.
You hit it on the door?
No. Yeah, I need a new butter down. That one, the butter's only a one down there. Can't get that much.
Oh, you can't get it out?
Yeah, I can't get it all the way out.
Did Mom say you could open a new one?
I didn't get a bigger.
You should ask your mom to help you scoop the old one out. We're not opening a new one until you finish the old one.
Why no butters have wrappers on it?
So it doesn't go bad. And dude, it's peanut butter. It's not butter. The school district today was closed because we had inclement weather all night last night. So that was my 4-year-old who Christy let stay home since Jake was staying home. Huh? You think I'll keep both of these? It's butter made out of nuts. Yeah, something like that. That's a decent pickup. So do I go land Cavalier and risk getting hit by this again? Or do I just go plains Cavalier of Dawn, kill this? I think I'm just supposed to kill this. And then next turn, I can go Thassa plus second Fblthp. That would be a fine builder on Tiger. If you want, you can go ahead and just send the donation for that. I'd be happy to take a crack at that one. You know what? Because I had the second Fblthp, I probably should have just played that last turn, huh? Or sacked that last turn instead of sacking my wall. I think that's fine. I can't kill this in combat. Might as well attack. You get to blink the Cavalier here. Kill the Rankle again. Bye, Felicia. Yeah, two Cavalier of Dawn might even be low for this deck. It's got some reasonable synergy. Yeah, in fact, there's a Grixis version of the Breach deck already in Historic, and already in the Historic queue. So again, this is the play we talked about. We can blink Cavalier, target our Thassa, and then Thassa is indestructible, so she doesn't get destroyed, but we still get the Golem, because the creation of the Golem isn't dependent on the thing dying, like some of these effects often are. Unfortunate that we're losing the Cavalier of Gales here. Yeah, from a personal enjoyment standpoint, I prefer Historic at the moment. I mean, actually, it'll be interesting to see if, with Pioneer being in kind of a medium spot, if historic content is more popular. So far to date, historic content has not been super popular for me. We could die to their flying threats here. I guess I get to go super wide on the ground here. Oh, I could just leave up mana and Thassa diddle. Yeah, I should totally just be leaving up mana to Thassa diddle, huh? Yeah, I'm really hoping that we see Historic get some cards unbanned even when March happens. And I hope Historic will be a format that like has more bans and unbans in it just to keep things interesting and well balanced. I feel like they can more easily do that with that format than a paper format. Yeah, I'd like to play with Field of the Dead too. I would like to see Oko and Field unbanned. Even if they make us discard the Cavalier here, I'll get to just bring it back with Conqueror's Death. I also think having Oko and Field be legal in Historic would make the format feel unique compared to Pioneer. It wouldn't just feel like smaller Pioneer, it would be genuinely different because there'd be different powerful cards you could play with in it. Aren't they dead? I don't know, probably. Haven't done the calculus yet. And I'm not blocking, so I'm just gonna tap their stuff and attack here. I think Oko is okay without Veil once upon a time. I don't know with certainty that it is or isn't, but I think it's worth trying. I think there is a possibility that it is okay without those cards. And that I would like to see the format explored without those cards in it. Right? Solid W there. Opponent's deck, not a deck that's been super popular in recent memory, but was a powerhouse last season. Edgewall Innkeeper kind of just like completely fell off the face of the map, huh? Sure, I believe in Fblthp. He's gonna draw us into some lands. Yeah, we haven't really had, there haven't been any formats, right, where no, Oko was legal without Once in Veil for a little bit, right? Is that true? Now I don't remember in Pioneer. Have there been any formats where they let Oko be legal without Once in Veil? I don't remember the timeline, because yeah, can someone go check the ban list up? It's super easy to reference. Hey, Bob. Well, shoot. He was. Okay. And Oko was clear. Okay, so in Pioneer, they were legal separately. That's good to know. I know in Standard, they were all gone at the same time.
I know my responsibility.
Well, I get to resolve Thassa here, but, like, it doesn't do anything, right? Because they just get to, like, bounce Thassa, and, like, blinking Fblthp doesn't do anything because we're in jail. And I can't Omen on their turn because we're in jail because of this card. Pro tip, chat. Don't cast this card while this card's in play.
No.
You will not be pleased with the result.
Open mind.
I don't know about most miserable. Blood Moon's pretty far up the chain on terms of miserable. This is definitely the most miserable card printed in probably, I don't know, let's say the last 5 years. Like, I feel like you have to go back to Ensnaring Bridge and Blood Moon to get cards that are close to as obnoxious as this.
Don't worry, I got this.
Well, they gave me a window to do this for some reason, which surprises me. Really surprised they tapped out for Conqueror's Death when they could have just bounced my Thassa. It's also weird that they didn't, like, bounce their... Okay, so that now they're gonna bounce their Conqueror's Death?
For my excellent timing. That's more like it.
So they don't get to absorb me this turn. So I get to stick Cavalier of Dawn. Because their absorb currently costs 5 because of this. And then I get to kill their Narset here, so I get to draw cards now. And, like, if they kill the Cavalier next turn, the Conqueror's Death brings it back. And if they kill the Cavalier after next turn, the Cavalier will bring back the Conqueror's Death. Yeah, I should probably have more then. It was a mistake to only play 2 copies of this card. This card seems real good in this deck. And very, very pleased with this one. Let's see if they have a third Conqueror's Death.
This might be a bad idea.
Looking for an untapped blue source here. This is a constructed event. You can always tell whether or not it's the ladder. There'll be a rank symbol over here by my username if it's a ladder match. Do I want to stick a Thassa here? Is that helpful? Does Thassa let me beat this Dream Trawler? I'm not sure anything lets me beat this Dream Trawler. That's probably as close as we get. This is the best standard's been since GRN. For sure, not close. Oh! Oh, right. Thassa can diddle this over and over. That's a good call. Four mana, diddle target trawler. We've given them a lot of golems, chat. I agree, Save It. I prefer GRN, but this one's not bad. So, we're dead. I think we're dead. GRN notably didn't have this card in it. It's a big defining difference. There was no Teferi time Raveler in GRN. Which made the whole experience a lot more enjoyable. This is not a birth matchup. Fblthp's pretty medium against their Narsets. Trim and Omen for the same reason. MTGA takes so much disk space with updates because they add a lot of cosmetics every update. I don't really think you need to see say a plague on this format. War of the Spark's been a plague on Magic. I don't think you need to quantify this format. I think it's just been plague, period. Alright, don't dispute me, bro. I explicitly asked you not to do that, opponent. This card lines up really well against our Cavaliers, unfortunately. See, I've heard some people draw a conclusion similar to that, Steamy, and I think that conclusion is disingenuous. I don't think Pioneer turning into a dumpster fire is just related to the format getting optimized. I think Pioneer turned into a dumpster fire in large part due to the fact that Theros introduced several combo decks. Like, if you look at the things that are good and being obnoxious in Pioneer, they're all things that were enabled by this latest set. And yeah, things were bound to become more optimized as the formats got deeper, but I think saying that that's the thing to blame is misplacing it. Gonna go ahead and kill Conqueror's Death here, I think. That's true. Disingenuous implies intent. It's just wrong. You should not imply what you intended. What your intent was. I think it's an incorrect statement though. Oh, that's wrong because of dispute. Yeah, I totally should have just played a Splicer there. Should have just played a Splicer there. God, getting my creature Spell Pierce feels real bad. Dispute tilts you. It's a tilting card. I'm not shocking in to hold up Veto because my opponent's probably going to bring back a Teferi, so holding up Veto doesn't do anything.
Sorry I'm late. Here we go.
I don't think I'd describe Teferi as broken so much as just exhausting. He just makes you sad. He makes me sad, at least, chat. I look at Teferi and I feel sad. Yeah, I think Teferi takes away a lot of the things that people enjoy about Magic. He frequently eats my leftovers out of the fridge. It's really rude. It's like that annoying coworker. Like when Declan comes down to raid the Uncrustables out of my fridge. Creature Teferi cost 5 mana. He costs triple blue mana. It really isn't a fair comparison. He also didn't cantrip, and he didn't impact the board outside of himself. Again, a big part of what makes this so good is that even when it's just okay, it still draws a card and tempos your opponent. Teferi is Declan. Man, that's a bad... I personally have fun playing with and against Teferi. Listen, we don't kink shame here. Some people like slamming their hand in car doors too, I'm sure. But like, to pretend that the norm is that the average Magic the Gathering player enjoys playing with and against Teferi, that's either intentionally or willfully obtuse. I agree that different strokes exist for different folks, and there's some people into some really weird crap that I would never be into, but like, just pretending that anything outside of Teferi is obnoxious being the norm is just not true. Yeah, and Teferi has nothing to do with letting control decks have fun. In fact, in my opinion, again, this is subjective, so feel free to disagree. Teferi actually removes a lot of the fun that control decks get to have, because in my opinion, the fun in playing control decks is often the nuance in how you're sequencing and playing against what your opponent is doing. And Teferi removes an absurd amount of nuance from Magic. He says, okay, a lot of these micro decisions that you get to make game to game just don't happen anymore now. Dovin's Veto has a similar effect on a much smaller one-off scale. One of the most interesting things in blue control mirrors once upon a time was how you pick your battles with your counter spells. And in a world where Teferi exists and Dovin's Veto exists, where and when you pick your fights with your counter spells matters a lot less. It's not this reactive stack-based game anymore. It's this, how do I prison my opponent out of the game? I'm gonna crack the Fabled Passage now, because I actually shouldn't have left the Agent of Treachery on top of my deck. I actually want an 8th land. Or I want a Teferi time Raveler. Sign me up. Back in my day, we tried to remand our own counterspells to win counter wars. Yeah, exactly. Flipping kids, get off my lawn. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, mentioning Dovin's veto might even be bad just because it muddies the waters a little bit. I don't think Dovin's veto is even on the same level as Teferi. Looks like we're dead here. Our days of stalling are over. Close game. Thassa almost pulled it out there for us. Yeah, at least like back in the day, like I think Blood Moon and Staring Bridge are probably the most comparable cards to Teferi in terms of how offensive they are, and at least those cards had the decency to be symmetric. They're pretty sweet. That's funny. It reminds me, I had someone who felt like they got me in a YouTube comment yesterday because I mentioned that Birds of Paradise is one of my favorite cards from my time spent playing Modern, and they were like, but you also say that 1-mana accelerants are obnoxious and shouldn't exist. And it's like, yeah, well, those things aren't mutually exclusive. Another control matchup, perhaps? I'm gonna draw a card with this right away because they could have Narset next turn. I want to cash this into draw before it's not an option. Could be Ramp. Could be Temur Reclamation, missing a color. Not only was Birds always legal with Bolt, but when Birds of Paradise existed back in Standard, look at the creatures you were accelerating into. Like, compare the threats from the original Ravnica with the threats that we have today. It's kind of night and day. Yeah, imagine when I registered Birds of Paradise, the deck I loved it in, you were playing against Tron lands. I'll have you know my Sarah Angels of Menacing with God, fair. But Jeff, you said Teferi's obnoxious. You just cast a Teferi, Jeff. Are you a liar, Jeff? How can I believe a thing you said, Jeff? You complain about society, yet you insist upon living in one. It's like, what's the takeaway from 2016? When a Republican runs on the idea that America needs to be made great again, he wins a presidential election. When a Democrat does it, they should leave the country if they're not happy with it. Like, you know, just society things. We live in a society. Would I recommend the headphones that I use? They're fine. What brand are these? These are a Lucid Audio. These are a sponsored product. The Tempo Storm hooked us up with them, and they're good enough for free that I didn't replace them. I do like that they have, one of the things I like about them, the audio adjustment is on the headphone instead of having an inline audio adjustment. I like having a volume control on the headset itself, and having it inline is often clunky and awkward. You like bang it into stuff, or at least I do. Yeah, I'm a part of F2K. What do I even want to board in here? They look like they're a ramp deck, just like board in a couple of Disdainful Strokes. Birth's probably not super useful. Just do that for now. Less is more. Not 100% sure what the opponent's doing. They died fairly quickly. Actually, speaking of kids stuff, one of the other things that's nice about these are they have the cord is detachable, so if the kid grabs the cord and yanks on it, it just pulls out. Just parenting things. Upside when the kid grabs the cord, it just pulls out. It doesn't yank the headset down with it. I have not had any experience with the synapse string. That the ticker in the upper right hand corner there, that is what's it called? That's the, speaking of F2K, that's the F2K ticker. So I don't always get samples from their sponsors. In your honest opinion, what's the likelihood that Trump wins in 2020? Non-zero. Never underestimate the power of bigots in large numbers. Never underestimate the power of uneducated, uninformed people voting against their own best interests because they've been conned into doing so. Never underestimate how many single issue voters there are out there that don't understand that they're hurting themselves. Your vote matters, get registered. Chromatic Lantern. Weird ramp room. I thought they were just, maybe they're playing this to enable Fae of Wishes out of the board. Fae of Wishes for interesting board cards. Do I expect, like, does this smell like fish? This could just be Frilled Mystic, huh? Because this technically taps for mana of any color. What if I just pass here? I'm just gonna pass with double Omen. They could have, like, Night Pack Ambusher, though. I think Biden drops out of S if he bombs an SC. I hope so. It's hard to know, though. I think a lot of these people have more pride than common sense, and they're more running for president to feed their own egos as opposed to doing what's best for the country. See the billionaires running. They're playing fairies, that's fair. Disdainful Stroke's an incredibly good pickup here, because it does mean if they have Frilled Mystic, I get to play Teferi and then stroke their fish. She is not Spreta. Look at that. Read them like a book.
Let's slow this down.
Think there's anything you could do to fix that. I think you can definitely deprogram people who are taking news from bad sources. I think the effort to deprogram people is something you definitely have to weigh. It is not an easy or time-efficient thing to do. Hey, thanks for the absurd biddies, Wargy. Happy to play some Gitrog tomorrow morning. I was gonna say I could get Mystic Disputed here, but they're playing Hearthstone, so I don't have to worry about that. Do I oil or balm it? I do not. This beard result is simply me not shaving.
Here we go.
There was not a historic dump with more cards. However, they've slowly been adding extra commanders to Brawl. So, like, we have Gitrog Monster and Talrand legal in Arena and Historic because they were printed for Brawl. So I actually have a Talrand build around in the Q2 we would need to poke at some point. The next dump of 20 direct to historic cards. God, there's been a lot of this lately. You can see I don't currently have priority. This latest patch has been having this hang where it's like not giving me the option to click through, but it's actually on me. Some kind of hang between the client and server. These people are great. Buy their stuff. Although, for those of you watching on YouTube in the future, I might need to pause for a moment because my Twitch connection appears to have disconnected. Oh gosh, and now we have endless Cavalier of Gales noises. It might be right to Splicer before we stick Thassa here, honestly.
Trust me, I have a plan.
We get to attack with this and then blink it to untap it, which is great. Wait, can you still hear me? People watching on Twitch, do you still hear my voice? Someone in chat said they still hear me. That would be strange. We're now a text-based stream. All right, hold. All right. I think we're about to be back.
I've got it.
I think my internet had a hiccup because my arena also hung and I had to restart that. I need to report the OBS stop streaming bug. There's some kind of bug with OBS where when it loses connection, if I tell it to stop streaming, it just sits there and never actually disconnects from Twitch, so I can't actually restart the stream, which is annoying. I think I'm just putting a bunch of stuff into play here. Like mass manipulation is probably one of their outs, so just like going super wide is ideal. Although I guess they have Chromatic Lantern, so I guess they could like wish for a real sweeper. Standard cuts are 50 empty hex. Hey, Fredwick, thanks for the 28 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. They're still just dead here, right?
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Yeah, I think my internet as a whole hiccuped there. Because my arena also hiccuped. And neither arena nor Twitch were elegant about reconnecting. This deck will be late getting uploaded to YouTube today because I'm gonna have to splice the video together from 2 other video files. So this one won't be available probably till late tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, this is fine. Get Omen of the Seas, try and find some white sources. Yeah, all my connections dropped off for a half second. Blue-white control again. Well... yeah, it could definitely be weather related.
Don't worry, I got this.
Whew. Hey. Well, almost. Took us a second one, but we got there.
I've got time. This might be a bad idea.
Am I protecting my rank? Yeah, halfway. I'd like to try and finish the top 1200 this month without putting in extra effort. I don't think we're currently there, but when we play better decks, I'm going to play those on the ladder to try and ladder up a bit.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
It's in where? Coronavirus Central. I mean, well, you could say no, right? You can decline to go there. All right, better late than never, fourth land. Hey, Mageologist, thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Alright, counterspell me. Welcome to the Space Jam. Hands full of gas. Let's pump it out.
Here goes nothing.
Huh? Do I just Cavalier? No, I don't think that's good game. We have Cavalier to block. We have Thassa that can tap it. Yeah, removal spell not so useful.
Let's try this.
We only played against control with this deck. No, we played 4 matches. I think 2 of them have been against blue-white. And like, blue-white was 3 of the decks at the World Championship, so I'd expect more blue-white as opposed to less moving forward. Do I want to scry these away? I think we're probably dead. I was going to go to the next game. We just missed land drops for too long. Have too much stuff in our hand with nothing to do. Trimar, less impactful 2-drops. Bring in Dovin and Agent of Treachery to go over the top. Gotta rage up to 28 lands. I mean, we have, like, Birth and Omen and Fblthp and Prince. We have a lot of ways to get there. Thanks for the tip, J-Ray. I appreciate it. Four-color Nig again. Sounds great. Enigmatic. Thick was sweet. Happy to run that one back. What are my thoughts on the World's deck list? It's a bunch of good players, registered a bunch of good decks. The only one kind of out of left field is Canister, still registering Jund Sack, but the rest of it's just like, if you asked me to pick three of the better decks in the format, like, that's what 75% of the room showed up with. Maybe a little greedy and keep the district and bottom the 3rd white. Mobilized District can be very good here. Play Omen of the Sea here. Birth is really good against Enraptured here. Of course, we have Time Raveler to deal with the token after, so it's not too bad, I suppose. I think while they're tapped out, I take this opportunity to stick Teferi Time Raveler. Hey, Hex, thanks for the big tip. Cut the line for 4-color, and you would like a Massacre Girl on the board. Sure, we can give that a try. Happy to run that one back. We can use that one to climb up the ladder a little bit today. So we'll use this to gobble up this. That's why we plussed it last turn. We get to go ahead and stick Enraptured here. I say Teferi because that's his name. Teferi time Raveler. He's wonderful. Getting punished for bottoming that plains and keeping the Mobilized District here. If I would have kept the plains, I could have played Cavalier of Dawn this turn. Mispronounced? Surely you're mistaken. Surely you are mistaken.
Don't worry, I got this.
Focus, meditate, and prepare.
So I think the plan here is Cavalier of Dawn, kill their Narset, Teferi, down tick, pick up Conqueror's Death. I could just district it here, I guess. I kind of want to get the Cavalier into play, though.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
I suppose this leaves a window where if they have a Conqueror's Death, they can, like, Conqueror's Death my Cavalier and then attack my Teferi. Just another Narset here is pretty good for us. Hopefully we draw an untapped land and get to stick Agent of Treachery and take her. Not surprised she missed there, but still worth taking a swing. Steal their land? Stop it. Get some help. Nah, yours will put another in the queue for later, J-Ray.
That's more like it.
Alright, now I'm going to take a land, though. We can't fight against our nature. We need to stone raid them. More stone raids. It's rain and stones. Do 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 do. Sure. Reprint Sinkhole, you cowards. That's a take. All right, they didn't smell our fear, chat. There's definitely some fear in the casting of that Omen of the Sea. Poker face, poker face, my. Four of a kind, Teferi kicker. Coming at you.
Sorry I'm late.
And then, like, even if they bounce my thing here, their thing still dies, which is great. So, like, kill my token.
Trust me, I have a plan.
They have a Mystic Dispute. Nope. Alright, come on. Land.
The fight.
Land.
Here
Feels magic, man. Feels magic, man. How's the day going so far? It's going alright. Pioneer was rough again this morning. This deck's been an alright. We had my internet hiccup on me, though. First time that's happened in a long while. Alright, I guess we're trying to hit a land yet again. I think I'm just scrying here because it's pretty important that I hit a 5th land. Good lord. Just vomit. I think this build's only on 25, but like we see so many extra cards. I'm pretty sure 25's correct. I mean, we're through a lot more than 16 cards. Yeah, we're through closer to 20. Even without the births, we have Omen, and we have Charming Prince. We have Teferi that cantrips. Correct. Never forget, chat. The Shuffler's as rigged as the Earth is flat. Flat, stupid flat Shuffler. Yeah, Legends, as someone who keeps a close eye on a lot of different Twitch metrics, because it's my industry and I like to be informed on my industry, I feel like Runeterra's kind of flopping in the realm of being successful on Twitch, at least. Really kind of shows how difficult it is for even a big company with a polished product to break into the card game market. I feel like if Riot couldn't generate a huge presence, it's basically next to impossible for anyone to. Huh? Alright, well, those can go away. I'm gonna redraw one of those. What? Deal? Snap it off. Sure. Yeah, they have the Saga. I have a Cavalier of Dawn, so hopefully that can tap in. He says before his opponent finds Absorb with him, with Narset. Deal. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Meditate and prepare.
Swing and miss. Yikes. Yikes. They see me trawling. Do do do. Are we dead? I feel like we're dead. We need a Thassa right away. We have a very, very small window where we can draw a Thassa and be okay. I don't really care about that. I need to scry with this Omen. Yeah, we played a Niv Mizzet Fires of Invention deck that you can find on my YouTube channel and my website. Felt fairly reasonable. I don't remember exactly how long ago we played it, but it exists. Blue Cavalier would also be an okay draw here. That's how we drew it up, chat. Need them to not have double counterspell. Oh, 2019 Magic. Oh, 2019 Magic. I was just so excited that we found the card I wanted that Magic sucks. These cards suck. It's very, very frustrating experience overall. I know I'm probably in the minority among all Magic players when I say this, but I'd really rather play against Field of the Dead, and I'd rather play against Oko than play against Blue-White Control, and that's subjective, so feel free to disagree, and you don't need to tell me that you disagree, because I don't give a shit that you disagree, but I think I'd rather play against powerful cards than prison cards. Prison cards suck. There's a reason why they didn't print them for so long. At least like with busted cards, they're like fun and powerful. Like Oko is at least a neat card that generates a lot of different board states and you get to make a lot of decisions with it. Yeah, we have another 8 months of this asshole. It's just really, really, really dry. Just terrible gameplay. As far as this is concerned, we played against Blue-White Control twice, and it felt like just kind of a clinic on why mid-range decks don't get to beat control decks. This is a pretty classic mid-range deck that I was hoping we could play against some aggro to see how these cards lined up against that. I think Splicer is very good against a lot of these aggressive decks. But we just didn't get to see that. We don't get to pick our matchups when we're just playing random matches. And I think this archetype just kind of gets dumpstered by control. I don't think there's anything you could really meaningfully do to improve that matchup with a mid-range deck like this. So if you wanted to work on a deck like this, you probably just punt the blue-white control matchup most of the time. Would I go to 4 Cavalier of Dawn? I don't even know if I would. Like, that's so many 5-drops. Like, Cavalier of Dawn was definitely very reasonable, but, like, all of these 5-drops are super reasonable. So, Alright, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while we get set up for the next one. We had a cut the line for what has been quickly becoming my new favorite deck in the format. We played some 4-color Enigmatic yesterday, and it was excellent. It's the deck that pulled us into Mythic, so hopefully we'll have another okay run with it today, and we'll get to go all the way up on, climb up into the top 1200 with it. So we'll be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.